Hi guys, welcome back to Forgetful Scholar, and this week we're going to chat about books. 2 books this week. I know, thank you. They're both cozy murder mysteries, which I really need this week because like 2 weeks ago I got hit with the cold that lasted way too long, and then I felt better for like a week, and then I had the flu last couple days, so it was really nice to like curl up and just read cozy murder. It's fine. Anyway, the first book is Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murders by Jessie Q. Sutanto, published 2023 and 333 pages. Now this is like, oh, this is so hard to give a rating, like 4 stars, but like 5, like, so with 5 stars, these books are books that I would revisit, and then I would also say someone wanted to get into, for this instance, cozy mysteries, then it would be a book that I'd be like, oh, you should check this out, to try to get them hooked in the genre, right? So this book was great, but it's not something I would reread. So I'm kind of like, I think I'm gonna go 4.5 stars. I usually don't do the 0.5, but you know what I mean? Yeah, so I'll probably do that. For Goodreads, I'll probably just put it at 5 stars. I tend to, when it's really rare when I do the 0.5, I tend to round it up on platforms like Goodreads and stuff like that. Although I really want to stop using Goodreads. Anyway, this is amateur detective, old lady detective. I love it. I love Vera. And if you are new here, I tend to read series out of order. It happens. So so I knew going into this, the murder whodunit was already spoiled because they kind of recapped it in the second book that I read recently. But that's okay. I wanted to see how they got there, like how Vera figured it out. Also wanted to see how she collected these amazing group of people, because it's found family and I freaking go feral for found family. I love it so much. So there is Oliver, Sana, Ricky, and Julia. Those are Vera's main suspects, right? And so Vera, it starts off, and the author, Vera, really, because it's her POV, or, well, it's her perspective. I'm getting so sidetracked. Oh yeah, okay. So Vera owns a tea shop, and she wakes up every morning at 5 a.m. She has her walk, she opens the tea shop. It sounds like a very regimented, scheduled out life. She texts her son every day. He doesn't text back. She found a dead body one day when she opened the shop, right? So once the book was finished, the clues leading up to the murder, phenomenal. They were well placed so that the reader can figure it out, right? The motive, though, I was like, all right. Because again, I read the second book, so I knew who the killer was, but I wanted to see what drove them to this act, right? So I will say the motive was a little, I'll get to that in a second. It was so cool to see, especially Julia's character, you see it the most, how different she is from book 1 to book 2, because Julia is the wife of the murder victim. And in this book, she starts off, well, let's just say no, let's not just like say it is the murder victim, Marshall, was abusive. So seeing her meek and like hating herself and very like in this confined box, it might not have been physical, but there is an instance where Julia recalls it did get physical, but mostly like him breaking her down and isolating her. Seeing how closed off she is and seeing Vera just kind of peel off those layers, because Vera has no boundaries. She's like, nah, I'm Chinese mother, I know what's best, you know, and you kind of just love her for it. I love Vera's personality so much. But seeing Julia how she is in the first book, and then by the third act, she's really starting to see, you start to see who Julia becomes in the second book. And it's really, I thought that was really well done. I really enjoyed it, right? Oliver is Marshall's twin brother. Ricky was hired by Marshall, and Santa was conned by Marshall, right? So pretty good suspects. It's an interesting story. I love these people coming together, and like, again, so dramatic. Like in the second book also, the people who have secrets, they're so dramatic about their secrets, and like I get it because that is realistic, right? Even though as the reader we're like, well, you could have told them that's not that big of a deal. But I think in the moment you can understand how they're like, oh, I can never tell them this, they'll think I'm a murderer, you know. You get it, you do, you get it. So I'm gonna put like a spoiler alert at the bottom. I'm not gonna do full spoilers, but just what I'm about to say, the only nitpicky thing, and this is nitpicky, right, about this book, you might be able to infer who the murderer is, right? So spoilers, I'm gonna put spoiler warning on the bottom, and when it's done, then, you know, unmute me, I guess. You don't want spoilers. So I'm still gonna try to be vague though. So the murderer, what drove him to the murder, to actually kill, I wasn't very impressed by. It didn't seem like it would be something for someone to snap, right? And the fact that he poisoned Marshall with his allergy doesn't really speak to me as like a crime of passion or in the moment. It sounds more cold and calculating. So that, I think that was a bit of a misstep. And, you know, look, in the second book, when Vera thinks about the murderer in this book, she's kind of sad and, oh, he's such a sweet person, too bad this happened. But after I finished reading it, thinking about it, I was like, no, I'm not surprised that his inclination was, because this isn't, he had 2 sons. This is where the huge spoiler comes in. He has two children. And one he blamed for his wife's death, which was a freak accident, so no. And all their lives, he thought treated Marshall like the golden boy who couldn't do anything wrong, and Oliver was evil, bad, and like to Oliver's face. And Oliver's self-esteem is so low. It's so sad, right? And meanwhile, Oliver is a sweetheart, and Marshall was like the con man, right? And like, oh, Marshall from the womb conned the father? I don't think so. No, the father just had no problem using Marshall as an emotional punching bag, right? Because at best, he emotionally neglected Oliver, right? At best. So when he realizes, oh no, Marshall was the evil one, he poisons him for him to slowly die of anaphylaxis, which is a very slow, I mean, it's not like super slow, but like there's time to call an ambulance, there's time to get an EpiPen, like there's time to do things. So just let him suffocate basically to death. I'm kind of not surprised, because there has to be some kind of emotional shut-off switch to treat your kids like that, right? Because like, I mean, good parents don't treat their kids like that. And if, you know, he had been a good parent and like seen through Marshall's manipulations and not treated him like a golden boy, maybe being grounded once in a while would have stopped him from being on this path where he never gets in trouble and he's abusive to everyone he meets, you know? So Marshall got it from somewhere is all I'm saying. You know what I mean? So I don't really agree like, oh, sweet old man. It's like, I mean, I think it speaks more to Oliver, that Oliver's like still in contact and stuff, as opposed to the killer, right? Because like, what, are you kidding me? So, okay, spoilers done. So I'm not really, so the motive was interesting. It's kind of framed, like that's the only nitpicky thing. It's framed as a crime of passion, but slowly poisoning someone to death with their food allergy is not really seen as a crime of passion. That's more calculated and cold, because like I said, it takes a bit, it's not instant death when you eat a food allergy. And I have food allergies, you know what I mean? It's terrifying going through it, and like you need your EpiPen and go to the hospital as soon as possible, but you don't like take a sip, dead, you know what I mean? Not like a, you know what I mean? So like Marshall crawled out into the street, crawled to the tea shop. So like there was at least a minute to stop this and fix it. So I think the motive and the means didn't quite mash up. Like if it's a, you know, a crime of passion, like an improvised weapon seems more likely than this. And yes, you could say, oh, it was improvised. Just to Marshall like slowly choke to death like that. It's not, I don't think the courts are going to see it as crime of passion if this was real. Anyway, so this was great. I love Vera Wong's mysteries. I love Vera. I love Found Family. I was pretty disappointed in Tilly, her son. He didn't come in till like close to the end of the book, like right before they figure out the killer and stuff like that. I did like that Julia and Santa yelled at him for it. I would have liked to see that on the page because it's just told that they like had it out and like yelling at him for neglecting his mother. Because like I get it. Tilly is associate in a law firm. You know, that's like 70-hour work days. His mom texts him every morning. Vera can be a little pushy. But like, man, you know, if my mom, who's a little pushy, found a dead body, I'll be like, yeah, I got the flu, call out of work, go see if my mom was okay. If her house was broken into, I would go see if my mom was okay. If she was hospitalized for bronchitis, I would be at that hospital. So yeah, he showed up when she was in the hospital, but like there's so many points that he should have been there. So I wish we saw Santa and Julia rip into Tilly on the page because, you know, and Officer Gray, she was in it and she's in the second book. She and Tilly start dating. I was not impressed by her. She was barely in it. She didn't leave a good impression. At one point, she just took a manuscript from Julia's house. I was like, whoa, where's the warrant? Where's the permission? And then you try to like, it was Oliver, he wrote a manuscript. And then she tried to get Oliver like to confess to a crime off of a manuscript, which at best is like a fan fiction diary edit. At worst is a complete work of fiction. Like, what do you mean? You know, like what jury, like that is, and it's not admissible. You know what I mean? So it's like, and she did that thing. Like, well, you could get a lawyer, but if you're not guilty, you don't really need one. No. I don't know how other countries do it. I'm not sure how a lot of countries do have their judicial laws set up, but in the USA, if you're brought in for, you know, questioning and you feel like you need a lawyer, you get a lawyer. I just listen to Forgetful. Listen. I don't care if they pull you in for a traffic ticket. You'd be like, I want a lawyer. There are public defenders that are paid through the state. There are big law firms that have certain lawyers have to do certain pro bono hours, which means for free. And there are plenty of lawyers that do payment plans and things like this. Not every lawyer is like $1 million a minute, like TV shows would suggest, right? I don't care if they bring you in to talk about a traffic ticket. Fuck you, I want a lawyer. You know what I mean? Like, and if they're like, well, if you're not guilty, you don't need a lawyer. Your response should be, fuck you, I want a lawyer. Maybe not cursing, but like, I want a lawyer. No. Always, okay? Lawyer up. I don't care. I don't care if you have nothing to do with it. I don't care if you have everything to do with it. Lawyer up, okay? Whew. So I was not impressed with Officer Gray with that, because you gotta be kidding me. Anyway, I had a lot of fun. 4.5. I love this series. I love Vera so much. I want to be Vera when I'm that age. She's amazing. Anyway, so the second book, again, murder mystery, but this one is a historical murder mystery that takes place in 1923, I believe, in England, which is interesting to me because I know a lot more about, obviously, the Roaring 20s in the US than I do in England, so that's a lot of fun. Murder at Miller's Hotel. Lady Ellen Investigations, Book 1 by Kelly Mason. Published 2023 and 232 pages. This was a solid 4 stars. I enjoyed it. I think the author kind of got in their stride and figure out who what Lady Ellen's voice was by chapter 3, because like chapter 1 and 2 she seems closed off, a little snobbish and bossy, but like by chapter 3 you realize, yeah, she's bossy because she's a lady of title and wealth, but she's also a huge sweetheart, right? So I think I felt that more starting on chapter 3 onwards. So I think chapter 1 and 2, like, it sets everything up, but like you kind of don't feel any warmth from Lady Ellen until chapter 3. And then I'm like, oh, you were just a sweetheart. I love you. You know what I mean? I do adore her. Now, who turned out to be the killer, I think that twist, it was a twist. And I think it was I was like, oh, okay. All right. I see where you went with that. I didn't hate it, didn't love it, but didn't hate it. I think twists are very hard in mysteries, especially for me to appreciate a twist in a mystery because I'm such a bitch. But like, I need a little, there should be a little sprinkling of it before, you know, just so that you're like, oh, I didn't see that coming, and I didn't see this killer coming. But then when you rethink to the book, like, oh, there was clues, I'm such an idiot, you know, that's like 5-star mystery, right? I'm definitely gonna read the Lady Ellen investigation books because I really like her, and this was a lot of fun. Very easy read. I breezed through it. I was like, holy moly, I finished this, and like, I couldn't believe how, like, it just beautifully flows, right? Lady Ellen is actually sweetheart. She is on a 3-month. Can you imagine being able to take a 3-month long vacation at like a top resort and not even blink? Like, damn. Anyway, during the war, she turned her house into like a hospital to help people hurt in the war. Her husband was killed. In the beginning, you think it's during like the wartime, but like we'll get into that. And one of her friends, possibly love interest, Captain Hamilton, she nursed him back to health, but she wasn't in a place where she would want to remarry because she really loved her deceased husband. But then they're reunited by happenstance in this hotel. It's very cute. Now, the murder victim, he was engaged to Lady Ellen before she met her husband. She found out he cheated, so she broke it off, as she should. Yeah, that's right, Lady Ellen. Value yourself. And the murder victim was court-martialed for a friendly fire accident that killed her husband. So like, I'm like, oh damn girl, you're gonna be suspect number 1 when he turned out like dead. And also, poisoned. He ingested poison also. So, I didn't really clock that. Sometimes books are very similar, so they're both murder victims were ingested something that killed them. Interesting. Anyway, he's kind of a cad. He's very well written to dislike him immediately. The hospital staff, all intriguing. They all have their little secrets, and some tie back to the murder, and some don't. They're just, you know, throwaway red herrings. The mystery was a lot of fun. I really wanted to figure out who did it. The Inspector Stone was an ass. And I really felt like there was no reason for him to be an ass. Like, he was just an ass. If the writer had, like, if he said something derogatory towards her being a woman or being titled, I maybe would have understood just the, like, resentment he had towards her. Like, it was weird. And I was like, well, I guess it's the 1920s. And he's mad she's smarter than him, but like I shouldn't have to guess that. Like, that is one thing I would say. Like, maybe next time, like, put in a reason for the cop to be an ass. Not because like sometimes it gets a little boring where like, oh yes, the police officer is just stupid. Like, you know what I mean? All the major secrets includes, it was fun finding out with Lady Ellen, and there was some fun secrets uncovered, and subplot Lady Ellen helps this poor girl Lottie, who is going to be forced to marry this young boy. I think his name is Joe, and he doesn't want to marry her either. They're both getting forced into it, so she figures out a way to help them both, and that is just, it was so cute. Like, that storyline, I was like, oh, Lady Ellen, you're so cute, you know? A very different, strong-willed, and stubborn woman. Like, for her, Vera to Lady Ellen, very different personalities, but very strong. And I love when I see that, in books. Love when I see that, period. But, I feel like I'm not making any sense whatsoever. I really enjoyed it. I think the twist was a little, like I said, didn't hate it, didn't love it. I didn't gasp surprised. I was like, all right. And that's unfortunate. But I loved getting there, and I'm definitely going to read more of these books. So both books, I had a blast. Both books, had a blast. I kind of hope Lady Ellen gets her groove back with the Captain Hamilton. He's very gentlemanly and he likes her a lot. It's very sweet. But yeah, I mean, again, imagine being able to take a 3-month vacation at like a top beach resort. Like, damn. I was like, damn. Especially in the time, like, in England, a lot of titles, especially at that time, had titles but not money. So it was kind of impressive she had the title and the money, And it was like due to her being really smart as well. It wasn't all just inherited. So I really like that. I loved how intelligent she was. The thought process was great. Solid 4. I enjoyed myself, and now I'm gonna go. Because it's the week of Thanksgiving, and I have so much food shopping to do. And I haven't done any of it, and I hate food shopping. So I have to go. Not that I want to. Anyway, I want to. It's time for me to get back to the real world. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye.